everyone, George Packard, Family Lawn and Landscape, and in this edition of Truck Talk, we're going to talk about when is a customer not worth having. So it's some interesting things to consider, and we'll be right back with that. All right, George Packard with Family Lawn and Landscape, and I'm going to tell you when a customer is not worth having. There's several things that you need to consider and look at as you're thinking about that. First of which is, to me, it's a headache. When the customer becomes such a headache that you can't stand to be around them anymore because it's always one thing after another. And there's a lot of things that contribute to the whole headache situation, but basically when they start nitpicking everything apart and you just can never seem to do right, you know, as hard as you try, and I always tell people this, that the first thing you got to do is try and communicate better with the customer. Know going in what they can expect from you. You tell them, this is what I'm going to do for you, and in return you pay me X amount of dollars, and that's it. So an example would be, if you tell them, I'm not going to trim your shrubs for $100 a month. You know, I'm going to charge you $45 an hour per man to do that, but I want you to understand that that's not part of the package I'm giving you right now. You know, now it's going to be your lawn maintenance, $100 a month, let's say, and that's it. So, but be clear with them on that. So that's where a lot of confusion comes in. Like, they'll call you a month later and say, hey, you never trimmed my shrubs, or oh, you didn't weed my beds, or whatever. Well, then they weren't clear on it to begin with, and that comes back on me. So, or my managers, or whatever, or whoever it is, it comes back to you. If you're the owner of the company, it's on you no matter what. So, so that's one thing. When you have trouble getting your money, that's a big deal. Getting your money is always hard in the beginning if you're not set up right. Like now, we are all prepaid, so you got to be prepaid or we won't take you on. That's just the way it is. Either we get a credit card number from you, or if you don't trust us with that and you want to give us a check, that's fine, but we're not setting foot on your property until that check clears the bank. And it's going to be the same every month, so it's prepaid. And if people tell you they're not going to prepay you, we just had one just the other day, same thing. Nope, I've never prepaid for lawn care in my life, and I'm not gonna. Like, well, okay, then we're just gonna part ways because we're just not gonna work together. It's our rules, you know. I mean, you got to keep that in mind. You set up your rules so that you don't get burnt, okay? And early on, we didn't do that, and we let people slip by and, oh, we'll pay you at the end of the month, or oh, we'll catch up with you next month, or whatever. And we ended up eating thousands of dollars, and we just don't do that anymore. So you guys make sure that you don't do that also. And it's just a bad thing to have happen. And in the lawn care industry, people just, I don't know, they treat you like crap and they think they can rip you off, and, you know, and you're not going to do anything about it. But, you know, they're wrong, you know, because we will do things about it. But we need to just get our money. If we get our money up front, we've really stopped a lot of our headaches from doing that. If they're too demanding, if they ask you, here's a good example. I have one customer we let go that we told them right when we bid them, we cannot guarantee what day of week we're going to mow you because they change. There's so many factors involved. If you're constantly, let's say they were normally on a Wednesday mow list, and we picked up, you know, 10 new customers on Tuesday's mow list, and that just put them onto Thursday's mowing. And all of a sudden they come up and say, hey, we were always mowed on a Wednesday, what's going on? And you explain to them, hey, we're growing all the time, or you have a lot of rain, something like that comes up, and it switches to days and they're not mowed till Saturday. But if they're too demanding with you and they're just like, hey, I want to be mowed on Wednesdays and that's it, or most people, it's like, I want to be mowed on Friday, so their lawn looks good for the weekend or whatever. But if they're too demanding, you need to let them go. You need to just get away because they're going to be a pain in your ass the entire time you have them. So, like I said, if they don't play by your rules, if you set up the rules, we had another customer we let go because It was so frustrating. She would not give us a key to the back gate so we could get in and mow her lawn. So when the guys would come there, and we told her this when we bid the property, she wanted us to call her every time before we come. Call her a day ahead of time, and she would leave the gate open. I said, absolutely not. And when she asked why, I said, look, there's no way I'm going to set myself up to call 500 customers or 600 customers and say, hey, guess what? We're going to be at your place tomorrow, yada, yada, yada. And then it rains or this, that, and the other. I don't want to make those calls. I mean, you hired us to mow your grass, let us mow your grass. I don't want to call you ahead of time. I don't want to go through all those hoops and rings that you want me to jump through. For what? Give me the key to the backyard. What am I going to take out of your backyard, for Christ's sakes? You know, you got to have some trust there. I said, at the very least, leave a key here. Leave it hang somewhere. Hide it in a spot. Something like that. I mean, I've tried to work with customers left and right, and the one lady would not do it. And then I was tired of getting my ass chewed because the guys that go there to mow, they don't have a key to get in. They mow the front yard, they leave. Well, what happens? She calls up. She doesn't want to pay her bill because, you know, they didn't mow in the backyard. Well, they couldn't mow in the backyard because you never gave us the key to mow in the backyard. Or just had a certain spot, put it under a rock, put it wherever, you know. But, so that frustrates me. So, when is a customer not worth having? When they become too much of a headache for you. That's when you got to get rid of them. So, that's that. Hopefully you guys learned something from that. Don't be afraid to say no to these people. We all have enough headaches in life, and you're going to have them, but as you get older, more mature, more involved in your company through the growing process, you're going to get to a point where you can start saying, no, I'm not going to do that anymore. So hopefully that helps. This is George Packard, Family Lawn and Landscape. Don't forget to subscribe down below and leave me your comments down below. Thanks for watching.